I'm so excited today. You probably can see it, and that's because we're going to talk about something I am thrilled to encourage you to implement in your life, and that's a quantum leap so that you can get truly exponential results in business and in life. So, first, let me ask you this. Does anyone know what a quantum leap is? It's commonly used, but does anyone know like where it comes from or what does this entail? Feel free to either put it in a chat or unmute yourself. Because if we're going to talk about it, we might as well figure out, well, what is it? What is your idea of a quantum leap?
It would be a leap that is exponential rather than step by step.
Beautifully said, Kathy. Exactly, 100%. So today we're going to break down exactly what it takes in your business to get that kind of squared or tripled power in whatever you do. So if you're excited, put I'm in the chat. Let's see who's ready for some leaping. And while you're doing this, I'm going to take you on a journey of physics. So, how many of you enjoyed studying chemistry and physics and all that jazz? And you probably remember, Kathy says, yeah. Okay. So you remember the traditional model of an atom, which has a nucleus in the middle with the proton and neutron. And then this funny electron running around on an orbit, just doing its thing without any vodka, still going in circles and circles and circles, right? Well, quantum leap came actually from study of physics, and it means that this particle, which really is subparticle, is able to jump from one orbit to another out of the blue. So physicists started studying an electron and its trajectory, wondering, well, how come it moves from one direction to another and it takes no effort? Hence, it's been designed as a quantum leap, that amazing shift where you were running your life on this trajectory and out of the blue, you're somewhere else. And when applied to our life, it has enormous ramifications because traditional approach to success is, just like Kathy said, one little step at a time. But sometimes in business, we want to speed up. We want to create more impact, more freedom, more revenue. And that's when quantum leap becomes super, super handy. So let's talk about it. Rachel says, like jumping timelines. Exactly. And that's what I'm going to encourage you to do today. So we're going to go through conceptually what it takes, but we will also make it super easy for you to adapt in your life, because I believe that everything that we look at should be about easy practices that can be put in place immediately. Okay, so let's talk about just how most entrepreneurs operate on, and that unfortunately is hardship. So when you try harder, because we were told just work more, right? My mom recently laughed at me and said, Dagmar, working more produces what? Does anyone know what working more produces? What result you get out of working more? You get working more. That's
you get tired.
Yeah, you get tired, exactly. But per law of attraction, what we do expands. So a lot of business owners feel like, oh, I've got 10 marketing strategies going on. Well, I'm just going to add another 5, right? Well, yeah, you're going to get just 5 additional marketing strategies. Perhaps the results that we seek do not depend on how much we work, but what actions we take, because more of the same gives more of the same. Okay, so I love using mathematics when I teach these quantum concepts and personal transformation. And in my Financial Freedom Unleashed workshops, I always tell my clients, if you always have the result of 4, perhaps you've been adding 2 plus 2, but can you keep adding 2 plus 2 to get 10? In conventional mathematics, you cannot, which means something has to change, at least one digit. And that's what creates that quantum leap in our business. We simply have to challenge our status quo. We have to challenge where we are and disrupt our current behaviors. So this is the point number 1 for quantum leap. Whatever you're doing right now is producing more of what you're doing right now. Okay, so let's say whatever your revenue level is, whether it's 6 figures or $250,000 or $500,000, the steps you've been taking up to this point are guaranteed to produce the same results. But if you're here at this quantum leap session, then I reckon you want more. Don't you want more? Put some more in the chat. I want more. I'm ready for more. Let's see who's ready for this. And that means that you'll have to do something completely different. So, number 1, we're talking about a radical departure from your current attitudes, behaviors, patterns, everything that you're doing right now. Why? Because it's still just 2 plus 2. Okay? And to do that, you first have to look at second guessing what you've been doing. It's not that you're not successful. A lot of these strategies have been very good for where you are right now. But I bet where you're going next requires something different. So today I want to open your mind to constantly seeking something different. My brain is always on the lookout on something I have not done yet, because I know that if I haven't done it, it's guaranteed to produce a different result. And a quantum leap requires different. Otherwise, it's just gradual, incremental, one step at a time, never-ending journey to get somewhere. Okay? So 1 is you need to do something new. And the only way to do something new is to let go of where you are now, or at least of some of the actions you take in business at this point. So again, this is not a judgment. Nobody's coming to say that you've been wrong in business. We're just playing with exponential growth. So let me give you an example. Around 4 or 5 years ago, I was exposed to the idea of a publicist. At that time, I had no desire to write any books. I was like, what a waste of a time. I'm not going to do it. Yeah, Kathy's laughing at me because she's got an amazing project with Linda and Leadership Global coming up. And we're actually going to do a workshop on helping you overcome limiting beliefs around writing. But coming back to this, at that time, I didn't see the possibility. I didn't see the impact it will have for me and my business. But I knew that if I haven't done it before, then that's exactly what I need to do, that I need to lean into it because it's outside of my comfort zone. It's outside of what I have been doing, which means it's guaranteed to produce a new result. And it sure did. It opened me up to speaking at summits. It gave me credibility. It created enormous leverage when seeking opportunities. So let's start with exercise number 1. And that is, I would like you to think about your work right now, your business. It's a bit of a journaling, a bit of a reflection. For that particular area where you've put a lot of work, but you got very little result, can you think for a moment, what are the motions that you're going through? What are the attitudes? What are our behaviors attached to this? Something that's really not producing a result. I'll give you tangible an idea. I used to be told that Facebook is the best for advertising for my niche. And perhaps it was, but it turned out not to be. So I gave myself permission to quit, which by the way, we'll talk a little bit more later, but that's also a principle of quantum leap. It's okay to quit what's not working. And yes, I invested in those ads, but they were not producing the outcomes that I desired. My brain has been programmed for seeking solution, for constantly looking for an idea, right? Because I want to be quantum leaping. So I go to another presentation and this very successful person says, I advertise on Eventbrite. And my bulb went up and said, you know what? I have not done that. I would not think that Eventbrite is my target audience. But what do I have to lose? But a potential client and a few dollars. That's it. So I launched my Eventbrite campaign, and sure enough, I had clients in no time. So did I just quantum leap? Did I go somewhere where I thought it was uncharted territory? Did I think this is not my audience? Yes, 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 and yes. But it did produce results, which brings me to another principle of quantum shift. And that is you need to be open to risk. When you are an entrepreneur, when you're a business owner, the moment you stop taking brand new actions, you become stale. You know that saying that unless you're moving forward, then you're actually going backward, right? We need to give ourselves permission to try new things. And to do that, we have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's just way of living. And usually it's the doubts that start ringing up when we try to do something different. And that's just part of your brain called the limbic system and amygdala that is always searching for danger, that tigers that coming out of woods that hasn't come out in 2,000 years, but we're still looking for it, right? So when you realize that your brain is actually working against you unless properly trained, then you start ignoring that tiger. And you make fear your friend. Because when you've got that, Kathy says, hey, let's do the project together with Linda. We've got this book coming and it's amazing. And you're like, oh, I've got this stomach that is squeezed. I ain't going to do it. That's actually your whole psyche telling you you're on the right path. Something's cool about to happen. You're going to play big. You're going to be big. You have no idea what you can accomplish when you just write that book. So lean into fear instead of letting you pull back. Okay? How do we feel about it? Are we ready to conquer those fears? Yes, I see a lot of yeses. All right. And why do we allow fear to control us? Because we have all these concepts of being judged. What if I tell them that I wrote a book and it flops? Or what if I tell them that I'm going to invest in ClickFunnels and my website went down? Or I'll do a big event and nobody shows up. That means, I'll be perceived as a failure. Well, as soon as I started my business back in 2010, I realized that failure will always be part of our journey. But I don't see it as such. I think it's actually a nasty word. Like it feels so bad. I look at this as a possibility to adapt. So agility is absolutely critical for quantum leaps because nobody's alpha and omega. I wrote an article, one of my very first articles back in 2015 was, what is the definition of an expert? And to me, that's a person that made every possible mistake. So now they're teaching you what not to do. Can you be expert by reading a book? Perhaps. But if you kind of did this campaign and it didn't work, and you tried this kind of recruitment technique and it didn't work, over time, you're accumulating golden nuggets. You're accumulating wisdom. So for me, it's okay to make mistakes. I will always make them. The question is what you do afterwards. And that's when you adopt this mind that says, I am constantly learning, I am constantly expanding. There's absolutely no need for me to look at myself as less off or not as smart or not as wise. In fact, I've just become an expert in not doing Facebook ads for my niche. I think that's pretty darn cool, don't you think? Right? All right, so let's try to put it together because as you can see, when I get excited, I don't even look at my notes. I'm quantum leaping my notes. So, one, we talked about identifying your current patterns so you can jump out of them. In fact, in my programs, Unlock Your Success, we incorporate the scrambling of your current behaviors because we constantly run on automatic. And when you're not aware of what you're doing, you cannot change it. Awareness is the key to change. So sometimes we have to push ourselves out of that daily routine with micro habits in order to see what's running you. And I'll give you a cool little technique to immediately make yourself uncomfortable. If you're always brushing teeth with your right hand, try waking up for the next 7 days and brush with the left. You'll be acutely aware of what you're doing while brushing your teeth, right? Can you see how that will start throwing you off? But the cool thing about being taken out of your current routine is that you've been living in a house with the doors closed, blinds shut down, and there's not a lot of fresh air. The moment you do something different, the brain starts opening eyes wide and starts searching for possibility. So your creativity goes up. You start really looking into, I've heard, but Leadership Global is a very cool organization where I can meet other badass business women. I think I'm gonna join. And Linda's phenomenal in helping you identify what you need and to find it. I think it's bloody amazing. Pardon my Polish. All right, so we know what to do. Number 2, we talk about reframing failure as a lesson. So here's journaling question number 2. Think about your recent mistake or what you perceive as a failure. What was it? And then write down what happened. How did it make you feel? Most importantly, what did you do next? So I'll give you an example. Back in 2015, I decided to create a fancy membership portal for Unlock Your Success program. And I hired a company in India that completely flopped it. So it became my gift to the Indian market. And honestly, in my entire entrepreneurial journey, that's the only time I cried. Because my program was launched on March 15th, and as of March 14th, I still had no portal. I had no way to deliver the content to my clients. And one might say, okay, let's just shut it down. I'm a failure. Nothing's going on, blah, 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 blah. No, my brain immediately went into solutions. And that is a sign of a quantum brain. It constantly searches for outcome or for way to mitigate the problem. In fact, in Unlock Your Success, this is the foundational exercise. We train your brain to discard the perception of failure and keep asking questions for a solution until you find it, right? It says, all right, this is not working. So what is the solution? You go and ask mentors. Linda is an amazing mentor. If I have a problem, she's on my speed dial, and she's got an amazing uh, wealth of advice. So for all of you, if you need ever to figure out what to do with your business, just schedule a call. But that's the sign of the brain that searches for that next shift, right? And you can create that mindset within yourself. Don't worry about the failure. You worry about, what do I do next? So what did I do next? I researched solutions, bought myself a full suite marketing, membership portal, and a delivery system. And I had the membership portal set up in 24 hours at a fraction of cost. There I was. Not only I had my portal, but I quantum leaped because now I went from MailChimp, which was always ending up in junk mail, to this fancy software, Kartra, that I came to love a lot and run my entire system off. And now I up leveled. Now I had marketing, I had ClickFunnels, I had a website, I had everything you want. Was I ready for it there? No. But that's another principle of quantum leap. You guys ready? I want to see some heads shaking. Nobody sleeping? Good, because we don't have time in quantum leaping for sleeping, okay? No snoozing. So here's what's going on. You make your move before you're ready. Oh my God, I'm going to do this before I'm ready. No. Yes. The answer is yes. It's like getting pregnant. Who's ever ready for that, right? Every mother in the room here, can you raise your hand? Yeah, you're not ready. And neither you will be for quantum leap, because that's the definition of it. You're doing something so out of ordinary, something you have never done, something you have never even thought about before. So how on earth can you be ready for it? It's impossible to prepare for it. But that's when you can leverage the next quantum principle, and that is to have faith. Visualize your progress. Visualize what you want to accomplish and go into trust. Because here's the cool principle from those quantum physicists who are geek as hell, but they have really awesome principles to apply in business. And that is that per quantum physics, if you conjured up an idea for business or for life, if you conceptualized something, then you already have within you everything to fulfill it. You have capacity to get it done. Okay, so let me break it down for you, because you're like, what? Is she like high? Yes, I'm higher on quantum leaps. And what that means is, think about principles of quantum physics. It's called act of observation. So over 100 years ago, this really cool thing happened where the scientists were looking at particles and noticed that when they're looking at them, they behave one way. But when they're not looking at them, they do their own thing. All right. And what that means is that we actually collapse non-particle reality into what you perceive your life based on what you expect to see. All right. And what that means is that when they were looking at the particle called electron, it acted as a physical matter. But when they were not looking, it was doing its own thing, like a wave. You know, it was like having a good old time. But what that means is, bringing it back to Earth 101, is that when you decide, when you have vision that you want to run $1 million business, it's as if you were looking at those waves of light, the photonic waves, and you just told them, you know what? I need you to become physical business that I run. That's $1 million or more. And because you were the one observing them, then you have the gifts to fulfill that vision. Because if you didn't have the capacity, you would not even visualize it. Isn't it cool? Like, I can't visualize being a ballerina because I'm sorry, I'm way too old and that butt is not going to go in the air, okay? And because I can't visualize it, I cannot be the ballerina doing all these things in the air. But if I had capacity, if my butt was slightly smaller, it's very possible that I would have that vision. So I want to inspire you to know and trust that if you decide in your business to accomplish something, you might not know yet how, but you have capacity to get there, which is the next principle of quantum physics. You don't need to know how you're going to get there. You just need to jump. You need to take that action, okay? Think of it as GPS. When you need to go from New York to LA and you program it in your car for the next 12 or 14 hours, are you going to memorize every twist and turn, every stop sign, every highway? Yeah? Let's see. Kathy says no. I guess the rest of you will try that? No. Okay, good, good. So the idea is you just have to figure out one step. I always teach in Unlock Your Success, don't overwhelm yourself with all of the things that need to be done. The power question number one is, what is one small step that you can take today towards that goal, towards that vision, towards that dream? And I bet you all can figure out one small step, right? So if you like that, put one small step or just step in the chat. Who's going to take one step? Or put number one. Put whatever you want, as long as you know what it is. Larry's typing. Okay, warm up the figures. Yes. And I promise I'm going to stop with the theory and we'll go into action. But there's so much more exciting stuff to talk about. You guys ready? All right. Here's the cool thing that I want to share with you. And that is that when you're quantum leaping, what helps my clients a lot is to adopt a new persona. In fact, I wrote an article about it on LinkedIn, so you can reference that, because in my coaching session with the client, she said, I have this fearlessness around me. Even for my 65th, I think it was birthday, she jumped out of the plane. She was parachuting down. But when it came to business, she was very timid. She was scared to take a big action. She was trying to play it safe. So I said to her, we're going to call her Mary to protect her identity. So I said, Mary, how did you feel when you were parachuting down? And she said, exhilarated. And I said, that was your first time. Did you know how you're going to get down there? She says, no, but I was hoping I will. I had the vision. I knew where I was going, down, right? And I said, okay, well, you had the target and you knew where you want to end up. You allowed yourself to flow through this and take that leap of faith. What if you took that persona that's jumping out of the plane and adopt it in your life, in your business? What if you just put her in charge instead of the timid you? And I said, what would you like to call her? She said, the Daring Diva. And Daring Diva was born, henceforth. So now I'm going to encourage you to ask yourself, what would the Daring Diva do in your business? What action would you take that you have not? Perhaps it's getting media publicity. Did you guys know that in Leadership Global, Zondra Evans has incredible opportunities to put you on TV? You can have your own show. You've got podcast. You can be interviewed by her. And all of these opportunities are at your fingertips. And if you need more information, just contact Linda. She'll share that with you. That is an example of quantum leaping. In fact, Linda suggested to me to hop on Friday in Women TV, which I have never done, and have a quantum leap in my life. So, what do you say when the quantum leap is presented to you? What's the answer? Linda says, yes, exactly. You say yes before you're ready. So, camera, lights, and oh crap, big eyes open. I'm with the mic and I'm speaking. I'm like, I'll figure it out as I go down. I'm parachuting. I don't need to know. I just need to say yes. It will unfold itself. And that's the beauty of quantum shifts. You don't need to know what you're doing. Isn't that liberating? It is 100% okay to be like a deer in the headlights. It's okay to feel this squeeze in the stomach that says, oh, you're doing something different. Because how many of you have watched After Earth with Will Smith? Anyone? You know what? I will highly encourage that right after this, you rent the movie and you watch it. It's a most amazing movie about fear. It's about Will Smith with his son landing on a very dangerous planet. They are crashing. And now Will is dependent on his son to find the rescue. And in that movie, he teaches his son the difference between fear and danger. And he says, danger is clear and present, but fear is just imagination of something that has not happened, might not happen, or didn't happen. Why would we give it so much power? So when you look at your business, when you think about tactics that you could have taken and you shied away from, was it danger or was it fear that stopped you in your tracks? And most likely it was fear. So just become comfortable with it. There's no way to quantum leap without fear becoming your best buddy. But let it tell you that you're progressing. And that's what fear should be, a sign of progress. You're expanding. You're outside of your comfort zone. You're doing something different. You're scrambling 2 plus 2. You're going for freaking 10. And it feels good.